Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. What's that again? Of course we have a story for that. Why don't you gather around, have a seat, and we'll share stories of yesteryear. These stories are old. They might even offend, but they'll surely have you saying,
We'll pick up stories from way back when. Read them out loud, you say, let's say it!
Have your parents ever asked you not to touch something or go somewhere without them? And if you did it, would they call you a good little boy or girl?
No.
Maybe they warned you about stranger danger. Don't accept candy, don't get into vehicles, don't exchange pleasantries. Well, in today's story, Mr. Miacca, by Joseph Jacobs, he shares a lesson about the danger of strangers, I think. Let's take a look, shall we?
Yes.
Tommy Grimes was sometimes a good boy, sometimes a bad boy. And when he was a bad boy, he was a very bad boy. Now, doesn't this sound familiar? Now, his mother used to say to him, Tommy, be a good boy, and don't go out of the street, or else Mr. Miacca will take you. But still, when he was a bad boy, he would go out of the street. And one day, sure enough, he had scarcely got round the corner when Mr. Miacca did catch him and popped him into a bag upside down and took him off to his house. When Mr. Miacca got Tommy inside, he pulled him out of the bag and sat him down and felt his arms and legs. "You're rather tough," says he, "but you're all I've got for supper, and you'll not taste bad boiled." You're looking slightly concerned, and I need you to know that Tommy, good boy or not, does not get eaten by Mr. Miacca. Not now, and not in this story. Now, shall I continue?
Yes.
Okay. "You're rather tough," says he, "but you're all I've got for supper, and you'll not taste bad boiled. But body o' me, I forgot the herbs, and it's bitter you'll taste without herbs. Salad! Here I say salad!" And he called Mrs. Miacca. So Mrs. Miacca came out of another room and said, "What do you want, my dear?" "Here's a little boy for supper, but I forgot the herbs. Mind 'em for me, will ya, while I go and get 'em." "All right, my love." Then Tommy Grimes said to Mrs. Miacca,
Does Mr. Miacca always eat little boys for supper?
"Mostly, my dear, if little boys are bad enough, get in his way."
And don't you eat anything else besides boy meat? Any pudding?
Puddin'? It's not often the likes of me gets puddin'.
Why, my mother's making pudding this very day. I can run along and ask her for some. I'm sure she'd love to give you some.
Now, that is a thoughtful boy. Run along now and get some of that puddin'. Don't be long. Be back before supper. So off Tommy pelted, and right glad he was to get off so cheap. And for many a long day, he was as good could be, and never went round the corner of the street. There's a good lesson in that, isn't there? Yes, if Mr. Jacobs would have only stopped the story there, we could all head over and have some tea, eh? But he didn't. But Tommy couldn't always be good. And one day he went round the corner, and as luck would have it, he hadn't scarcely got around it when Mr. Miacca grabbed him up, popped him in his bag, and took him home. When he got him there, Mr. Miacca dropped him out, and when he saw him, he said, "You're that youngster that served me and my missus such a shabby trick, leaving us without any supper. Well, it shan't happen again. I'll watch over you myself. Get under the sofa, and I'll sit up and watch the pot boil for you." Get under that sofa there, Tommy. So poor Tommy Grimes had to creep under the sofa, and Mr. Miacca sat on it and waited for the pot to boil. And they waited, but still the pot did not boil. Till at last Mr. Miacca got tired of waiting.
"Hey, you there! I'm tired of waiting. Stick out your leg, and I'll stop you from giving us the slip."
So Tommy put out a leg, and Mr. Miacca got a chopper and chopped it off, and pops it in the pot. So Mr. Miacca went into the next room to look out for Mrs. Miacca. And while he was there, Tommy crept out from under the sofa and ran out the door. For it was the leg of the sofa that he had put out. So Tommy Grimes ran home, and he never went round the corner again till he was old enough to go alone. Well, wasn't that a pleasant way of learning to abide by your parents' kids? I know I'll think twice before going around the corner up the street. Now, Mr. Jacob uses fear to teach kids to do good. Do you think there are other methods? Do you think Mr. Jacob was convincing? Do you think you could tell this story about abiding by the rules without using child abducting cannibals? What would you change and why?